So welcome back. In the last class we talked about the determinants of individual demand, and we learnt it as O tie, that is prices of the good in question. Then we talked about prices of related goods. Then we talked about tastes and preferences, I for income, how does income affect demand, and we also talked about expectations. And in this, we are going to do what do you mean by the market demand function? So in this, we are going to talk about determinants of market demand. That means what are the factors that affect the market demand? So in this, let's learn it up as POP, SAD. POP for population, S is for season and weather. How does it affect demand, the market demand? Then advertisements, how does that affect the demand for a product? And then we talk about distribution of income. So I want you to just have a look, and it is not so difficult, and we can just explain a little of it. So let's talk about population. See, so again, what is market demand? So market demand for a commodity is the total demand, that is a collective demand of all individuals for that commodity at various possible prices during a given period of time. So it is influenced by all the factors that affect individual demand that is there. In addition to these individual factors, market demand is also influenced by the following factors, as we've seen. As you can see, I've written down, that is population. Then I talked about season and weather as S. A is advertisement and distribution of income, SAD. Okay, this is how you're going to learn it up. Now, talking about population, higher the number of consumers or the total population in a market, higher will be the market demand for a commodity, and vice versa. Now, besides size of the population, its composition also affects demand. That means composition of population, it means the distribution of population on the basis of sex, age, etc. So for example, now if there are more children in an area, so those products will be more in demand. There are more youth there, then such demand will be more for such products. So that's what we mean by composition of population. So a change in the composition of population has an effect on the nature of demand for different commodities. Okay. So now demand is also influenced by place of residence, particularly urban and rural. So there will be difference in demand made by urban population, and there will be a difference of demand by the rural population. So talking about that, let's come to season and weather. The seasonal and weather conditions also affect the consumer's demand. For example, demand for woolen clothes goes up during winter. ACs and fans demanded more during summers. So similarly, during the rainy season, umbrella, raincoats are in great demand. So now let's come to advertisements, SA. Now, advertisements help in increasing demand for the product. How? See, they inform the potential consumers about the availability of the product. Then they show its superiority over the rival products. Then advertisements also influences consumers' choice against the rival products. And sometimes the advertisements actually set in new fashions and changing tastes, even for colors. It's actually, the power of the advertisement is really amazing, especially in the modern world. And then we come to distribution of income. If income is distributed more equally among the different sections of the people, all of them will be in a position to make demand for goods. So demand will be more. But if the income is so unevenly distributed that the majority of the people get only a small proportion of the national income, then the demand for goods will be limited. So based on how rich or how the population is skewed, that also affects. For example, large sector of society, if the large sector of the society are poor, obviously the demand will be low. So having said that, so these are the factors that affect demand. So now we finished with the individual demand function. We've talked about the market demand function. So you can get a question on what do you mean by the determinants of demand, or you can get a particular, they can ask you for individual, say in the individual demand function, how does income affect an individual's demand? Or if you want to talk about the market, they can say how does distribution of income affect the market demand. So in the next class I'm going to do the law of demand.